Hello, welcome in. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm coming in here on Tuesday to connect for a little bit and chit chat about this particular day, however you may observe it. If you do, knowing that this can range anywhere from being a very spiritual and contemplative occasion for some, all the way down to a nod to the green in your closet. Eat all the things green beer and Irish potatoes and all of those more commercialized ways in which many of us may be familiar with St. Patrick's Day. Now, I recognize that this is a day that has deep roots in Christianity, and I do honor that. Today, in the spirit of the Celtic lands, where this holiday originates from, I want to focus on something a bit more universal in the way that we can tap into the magic of alignment and the beauty of the unseen, and an invitation that comes in here that I believe is something that can help to bring a little more magic, abundance, and a little bit of the luck and those types of things coming into our lives when we imbue meaning through those intentions. And so I was kind of doing a little digging myself because I was tuning into the frequency of this. You may be familiar with these cards from the Wisdom of the Oracle. The card of Serendipity, for perhaps obvious reasons, with its four-leaf clover, and the messages that it brings forward about signs and synchronicities and charms that come along our way as a means for Spirit to speak to us, right? We were talking about on Sunday when we tuned in for our collective messages this week, the senses, the signs, and really connecting through those things. So I have a couple of different things that have been coming in that I wanted to share with you this week that I think this helps to really bridge and weave our way toward a pick a card I'd like to do this week in the spirit of the charms and the symbols and signs of our times that's coming through. So that's something I do hope to bring out this week, along with this work where we have infused in some of these beautiful energies, the emerald ray, which of course we were tuning into on Sunday with the emerald renewal and recovery energy that came forward. And now here also bringing in the frequency of hope and the golden citrine for connecting in with our solar plexus, our gut, our sense of that central sun of our authentic selves, and really shining that out, which is where I'm bringing in the all that glitters message, because I think that parlays with what I'm speaking to here, where my intention is to learn and understand more about something while also respecting and honoring, everyone's beliefs and the opportunity for us to glean meaning from things that may appear one way on the outside or have a popular understanding of its origins, but actually have much deeper meaning or historical reference that is also important for us to have an awareness of. So, with this day coming forward as a means to celebrate abundance, luck, and golden blessings, there's a lot of symbolism in the day, including the clover itself with its three leaves, which is typically symbolizing the Trinity in Christianity, but also Celtic spirituality, and originally Celtic spirituality, the number 3 representing the triple goddess, the 3 realms, land, sea, and sky, or the interconnectedness of mind, body, spirit. So we call in that energy along with the abundance of green. I forgot to mention here, I'm getting a little nod, Merlin's energy as well for connecting in with the earth spirits that come forward as we speak to fairy and leprechaun lore and more, because these are things that can also symbolize the way in which things can bring forward for us a little magic and a little mischief as well. So thinking of the symbolism of the deep, rich greens and the rolling hills of Ireland, and really honoring the living magic that's inside the land itself. And it's bringing in one of the ancient guardians, is Anya, the fairy queen, goddess of the green hills, love, and abundance. And Anya reminds us that the earth is alive with spirit, that the wind carries old stories, the river holds ancient wisdom, and the hills of Ireland are never empty. If you walk gently and listen closely, the fairy realm is never far away. So this is bringing in crystal, emerald isle, and moss agate energies, different things that we can tune into to further support nature magic, abundance, and deep connection to the earth. So there is a phrase that is known with St. Patrick as being the patron saint who is said to have driven the snakes out of Ireland. Now, this is where our all that glitters comes in, because again, from a particular perspective, there was this notion of driving out the paganism with the arrival of Christianity, okay? Except in saying driving out the snakes of Ireland, of course, there were no snakes, or perhaps just metaphysical or metaphorical ones that for St. Patrick, the snakes were the old pagan beliefs, the Druids, the sacred feminine, and those who perhaps tolerated the coexistence of indigenous spirituality and the arrival of this Celtic Catholic Church system that then came in. So snakes are and always have been a symbol of the goddess. And so St. Patrick's purge was about the eradication of the divine feminine. Now, we just had a Friday the 13th, and I shared some guidance there as well. And this is what I'm talking about with the all that glitters, that on the surface, certain associations, beliefs, and understandings, and then when we go beneath the surface, there's a lot more history and lore there that, again, up to interpretation and how it has been brought forward and through which filters that we have built our individual belief systems. So opening ourselves up to consider and to understand different perspectives being a part of the guidance that's coming forward here. So this connects back with the goddess Brigid. These are all things we've been talking about, denoting these spots along and it's fascinating to me in terms of generations and eras of belief systems, starting with nature and the notion of these more indigenous spiritual practices that then over time and with expansion, colonialism, and so forth, that other more well-known today belief systems came in, and wherein lies the balance and the blend between all of those worlds to pull out the beauty and the magic is where my curiosity goes. And so, looking through some of these historical references, speaking to the way that St. Patrick used the shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity, which of course was an interpretation, a perspective used as a metaphor that was previously part of that Irish celebration of, as I say, the triple goddess and the triskelion, which is a triple spiral symbol, in order to sort of take that and make it with a new association, is kind of, what this guidance is speaking to. And so when we look at the notion that something like that could have eradicated the goddess, paganism, and earth-based spirituality, which in turn arguably disconnects one from the earth, can separate us from our instincts as we come into the gut and the solar plexus highlight here, and provides the backbone of some of the out of alignment of the patriarchy or toxic masculine energy that is currently being balanced on the planet. So that is sort of a little bit of an alternative perspective coming in to acknowledge those things. And then as we look to the oracles that are coming forward and how we can connect in with that, serendipity, this beautiful energy that really speaks to the awareness of synchronicities, of luck and good fortune that appear as signs, symbols, and the magical alignment of events. Some try to say coincidence, but of course we know that nothing is ever wasted in the universe and by spirit. And so everything has multidimensional meaning, that just what we do when we read the cards, when we speak to the numbers, to the stars, to color, and the way in which each of those things can bring forward signs, symbols that speak to us on an intuitive level and bring out that awareness and that return to our nature. And so this brings forward a beautiful prosperity message about being in the right place at the right time, and to be in gratitude for the stars are aligned in your favor and fortune is smiling on you. So it's speaking to victory and success, that the choices that you have made in the past. And remember, as I come in here on Tuesday, our card is that double 7 of cups. And I think this is also a good way to put that into perspective, is that each of these cups are available. They're all choices on the table. And within them could be many of these different beliefs and understandings and symbols and ways of perspective gleaning, right? And so we choose what perspective and through which filter and how we see things. And so I think that's a beautiful connection to the fact that this came up as our challenge, a potential block or challenge this week, again, is challenging us to look beyond our own limited perspectives of the stories that we have been told, and recognizing that there is more to the story, right? And that there are alternative perspectives to be considered, and that it doesn't have to be all or nothing, this or that, right or wrong, black or white. You know, there is this energy of blending into the power of choice and also flowing with recognizing those things in the different forms that they come forward to us in nature, right? And so, and in our nature. So the prosperity message speaking to the choices that you've made in the past, having prepared you for the opportunities now before you. This is your lucky moment. The timing is perfect. So again, all the choices I've made, all the beliefs I've held, all the stories, all of the things that are encompassed in here are all a part of what has brought me to this now moment, to this opportunity to write a new story, to expand my perspectives. So I love that, anchoring us in. And then the all that glitters, just to kind of expand on what I was saying about the need to see beyond the superficial, or the popular opinion, or the party line, or whatever it may be. We can be, tempted to don a mask or to dress something up to disguise its true nature. This is precisely what we're talking about with the sort of hijacking of the symbolism of the Shamrock, for example. The notion that a different mask was put on it and imbued different meaning than canceling out the prior, and so there's something to be said. There's something to be seen in looking for not just the sparkly thing, not just the thing that, is up there in big lights constantly being programmed in a way that actually we go beneath the surface and we see things from an expanded perspective. So, this card, of course, can also speak to, trying to be something that we're not, thinking that we have to be a certain way in order to impress others, those types of things. But again, prosperity-wise, because we want to tune into these frequencies of luck and abundance, sometimes opportunities that look really good on the surface and glitter like gold, we just can't resist it. But actually, just a little scratch beneath the surface, and we see that it may not be all that it purports to be. And so as we are stepping back into a neutral, expanded perspective and calling upon our higher self in order to look at anything that comes to pass through that neutral, expanded lens, right? Not beholden to stories, not beholden to the shiny thing. So that message is coming through here as well, in recognizing where we may just be seeing the surface and the sparkle, but to really look to go beyond what glitters. So I hope that makes sense. You know, just had a little thought in mind that I wanted to weave together. And then what I thought I would do is get out my charms, and we'll choose 3 charms that will represent the 3 different positions to pick a card that I will later be doing from a fun little oracle deck I have here called Sign of the Times, which is sort of a bridge from what we are tapping into here with the St. Patrick's Day lore to some of the symbolism that came up on Sunday when we did tune into these messages. And if you haven't seen them yet, just so you know, if you're here on the Empowerment Sharecast, you can look back, see the card pulls, and each day the intuitive messages I brought through, the astrological weather. It is also on my YouTube, so you can just check for the collective messages for this week, and that gets all into it. And if you would like a personal card pull this week as well, you're invited to reach out and let me know, and I can pull a card just for you. But as we were tuning into on Sunday, the symbolism of California Dreamin' coming forward and the 7 of Cups coming up twice. And then we further got into aromatherapy as the message from the Seasons of the Witch Ostera Oracle for the incoming spring equinox at the end of this week. Because oh, by the way, speaking of the 3s and the Trinity, the trifecta of this week, as I talked about in the astrological weather, being new moon in Pisces, last new moon of the astrological year, and then culminating to the turning of the wheel, the new astrological year arriving with Aries season and spring or autumn, depending on where you are in the world, and then Mercury stationing direct. And I will share that those 3 things happening all at the same time, I believe it's been 51 years since the last time that happened, but it is a rarity and sort of a power trio that's coming in. So we talked about the aromatherapy coming forward for Equinox Ostera, and the way that that was tuning us into our senses. And, you know, we can't make it up. Once it comes in to me from spirit, then everywhere I go and everywhere I scroll, I'm seeing. So of course, you know, an article pops up about smell connecting with our memories, and it was specific to Gen X. So that kind of set me on a little spiritual breadcrumb trail with the synchronicities and the serendipities to be inspired to share with you some fun things that get into different generations and the smells, the sounds, and the sights that evoke memory and meaning and story and the lore of where we came from. And yet, as the generations come together, these things hold different meaning or maybe absolutely no meaning to another generation that wouldn't possibly be able to understand about dial-up internet or a rotary telephone or cassette tapes or it goes on and on. I had a lot of fun looking. I did find some little reels and things to share with you as we get into the week. So these charms that I pull now are sort of our segue into our sign of the times and connecting in with our senses and symbols that come forward. Okay, so let me bring in my charm cup, and I'm going to stir around, see if I can get 3 good ones that are going to be for our pick a card, our sign of the times pick a card that I'll be doing here on the Sharecast this week. Let's see, first charm, oh, let me just show you. Speaking of, looks like all the glitters pile, huh? So we'll have layers of messages between the charm itself and the sign of the times oracle card that comes forward. Okay, first one is going to be, oh, 2 are sticking. I'm going to let it, okay. We've got speaking of the snakes, we've got this beautiful, what's that? Figure 8 serpent with the purple jewel. I love that. So we talked on Sunday when we tuned into our cards this week that we had 4 cards with the frequency of the number 8. Yeah, we have, this week we have 8 of Cups, 8 of Wands, and 2 Oracle cards with the number 53 and 35. So 4 of the cards that we tuned into this week carry the frequency of the number 8. So we were talking about that infinity energy. So pile 1 or position 1 for our pick a card will be the purple glittery serpent. I will show you a close-up of that when we do the pick a card. Second position, see what we have here. Ooh, we got a medal, and this is going to be, this is Saint Joseph. So Saint Joseph bringing forward. So this is like divine masculine, the divine father energy coming forward here in the second position with Saint Joseph. And finally, third position. I got another medal. There's a couple in here. This one is Saint Gabriel. That's beautiful. So Saint Gabriel coming forward. So Archangel Gabriel, which is one of my favorite energies to work with. It is actually this soul calling and guidance, this pearlescent energy of Saint Gabriel or Archangel Gabriel coming in here as the messenger angel. So that's this one. But should also share with you as well for Saint Joseph, the beloved Joseph divine protector energy. So I will choose a spray to go with each of these charms, and we'll be back on the Empowerment Sharecast with those for you to choose from with some messages. So let me sample that for you to close out this particular video. Here we have the Sign of the Times. This is an oracle deck I got a couple years ago with thoughts of pick a card and potential, because it's kind of a cool deck that has some simple symbols and signs of our times with little messages. So there's that figure 8 again. Duality, masculine, feminine. I love it. I was going to say, for me, Archangel Gabriel feels like a female energy, a feminine energy. And for some, Gabriel is a masculine energy. So interesting that we sort of have the beloved Joseph, divine protector, father energy. And then we have Gabriel, which encompasses as the messenger angel, bringing in however you connect. Again, it bringing us back to going beneath the surface, going beneath what is shiny, what is the common, you know, most popular, to soul and in our resonance, and getting back into here for our authentic expression, and as well as, you know, what we imbue meaning to and how we connect with it, but also holding space for others as well. So let's just pull out a sign of the times. This one's a little trippy. A sign of the times to come forward and see what little message will leave you with here as I get into time to work on that new moon empowerment reading. So again, I shared a number of ways we can connect this week. If you would like a free personal card pull, and if you would like to work together more comprehensively, of course, I have the new moon empowerment reading for tomorrow's new moon in Pisces, the final new moon of this astrological year. And we have the spring equinox kicking off on Friday with those very special seasonal readings available now. So different ways that we can connect. Do reach out if you would like to understand more about each of the options, or if you're ready to go. Thank you for those of you who have booked for those readings. I'm going to be getting into new moon first coming up next. So let's see, before that happens, a little sign of our times to come forward. One card, please. It's the moon. It's the new moon in Pisces. Moon symbolizing emotions. Yes, how Piscean. And this is card number 23. So that is speaking to, again, the frequency of 5, which is 2 and 3, coming together as 5, the number of change, transition, in between, right? We're no longer where we once were. All that glitters is indeed not gold. And more, those masks are coming off in the collective, on the world stage. And things are being revealed for their true nature, or for things that have been just lurking beneath the surface. And Pisces season specifically has definitely been serving, along with so many other aspects, to bring all of that up to the surface to be seen. And with that, we are going to have an emotional reaction. We're going to be experiencing those things in many and various ways. And we all have a different capacity for how that's coming up for us. So, you know, the emotions around not just the new moon cycle that is coming in, but Pisces season on the whole. And as I get into more deeply in the new moon empowerment reading, 7 different planets and astrological bodies in water signs, which brings forward a lot of emotion. So I'm going to take a look at the sign of the times take on this card. But of course, you know, again, no coincidences and nothing lost, nothing wasted. So this is why I like to note these different days, holidays, occasions, celebrations, and symbols that we can learn more about. We can expand our perspective. We can tap into, you know, what they have to offer us as a collective in terms of, you know, as we were tapping in here for St. Patrick's Day, the beautiful emerald green ray leading to magic, the blessings of the Emerald Isle, and just celebrating the spirit of those things. So let's take a look at the moon's symbolism coming in here with sign of the times. Although the moon is most visible at night, it can often be spotted in the daytime sky. The same can be said about emotions, which can be hidden, yet also faintly present or clearly defined at unexpected or inopportune moments. This card encourages you to feel your feelings and express your emotions. Emotions are sometimes mistaken for weaknesses, but they are an essential part of being human, and there is strength in allowing yourself to experience them fully. From happiness to sadness, enthusiasm to rage, no matter what the emotion, you are entitled to feel how you feel. And when you feel comfortable, open up to a friend or someone whom you trust. Emotions are meant to flow as they come and go. Holding on to things can create burdens and even lead to physical ailments. Releasing this energy prevents them from becoming stagnant and stored, which can affect your mood and cause unpredictable outbursts. Feel empowered to express yourself, which can improve your confidence and ability to communicate your feelings to others. Additionally, tell others how you feel. Release pent-up emotions. Moon phases are affecting your emotions. You don't say. Pay attention to how you express your emotions. Seek emotional support from family, friends, or professionals. Very aligned. I know that when we talked astrological weather this week, there were a couple of different aspects that were either fostering or possibly hindering communication, least of which not being Mercury retrograde, which is winding down now as he prepares to station direct, but there's an energy of, that it can kick up and we might be experiencing increased, aspects of that being in retrograde. So that comes to our communication, being understood, understanding others, which can then again can bring up great emotion. emotion, energy in motion. So as we move, as we flow, all this watery energy, all a part of being in the mix, the moon has come forward. Let's do this backwards. So I picked 3 charms for the 3 cards that we will pick for the pick a card. We picked our collective message first. Let's pick a charm to go with the moon. See what wants to come out for the collective part of the pick a card that we'll be doing. Let's see, to go with the moon. Ooh, we got a little owl. Bring that over here so you can see that. We got a little owl that comes in. I feel, of course, the owl often associated with wisdom and higher self and higher wisdom, and also having a wider perspective of being able to see from higher vantage points, even the most nuanced things going on the ground. You know, any of those birds of prey that are very aware of the little critters moving around, but also of the big picture perspective. The owl brings in that wisdom that is gleaned through not just a narrow view. And so this again is where you may have some very strong beliefs, things that really resonate with you. And that is yet one perspective. And so opportunities for us to expand our vision into seeing the big picture and understanding. I keep knocking down our little moon card, but owl brings in, I think, that raising up the perspective, and the moon speaking to phases and cycles, that this being the new moon, there will be an absence of light in tomorrow's Pisces new moon. There's an absence of light, and yet deep intuition and feeling through emotion. And also we talked about how there is a thinning of the veil in Pisces season and with a Pisces new moon that has us very connected in psychically, intuitively, and feeling. So again, income, the senses for us to tune into. So we will talk more about that as we get into the week. But I hope you found some nuggets in here. Wishing you again a happy St. Patrick's Day and much love, infinite blessings and abundance and good luck and good fortune coming to you and sending it out into the world. So thank you so much. Stay tuned over on the Empowerment Sharecast for the incoming